Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have fired 10,000 people from the nation's health agencies in the last couple of weeks. They have cut billions and billions and billions of dollars in health research and health programs. But apparently, somebody forgot to tell Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that that's what he was doing.
You propose more than $11 billion in cuts to local and state programs addressing things like infectious disease, mental health, addiction, and childhood vaccination. Did you personally approve those cuts?
I'm not familiar with those cuts. We'd have to go. We'd have to go.
There's like more than 50 pages of, of cuts that I actually went through.
The cuts were mainly DEI cuts, which the president
There were
ordered.
a lot, but I'll give you, for example, about $750,000 of a University of Michigan grant into adolescent diabetes was cut. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, and that's something that we'll look at.
I'm not familiar with those cuts. I'm not familiar with those cuts. Those cuts are mainly DEI cuts. We cut infectious disease and mental health and addiction. That sounds like a terrible idea. We cut adolescent diabetes stuff? Well, that's something that we'll look at. I thought these were all DEI cuts. How is it possible you have this job? But while Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. claims to know nothing about the massive cuts he has made at the various agencies he runs, or maybe it wasn't him. Hey, if it wasn't you, who did them? One thing he does claim to be very engaged on is the ongoing measles outbreak in West Texas, right? One of the worst measles outbreaks this country has seen in decades. In fact, Kennedy this week personally visited the epicenter of the outbreak. He attended the funeral of an 8-year-old child who's died of measles there, a second kid that this measles outbreak has killed. Kennedy then posted to social media photos of him visiting with the families who lost children to the measles, as well as 2 of the doctors who had been treating them. He called those doctors, quote, extraordinary healers. He claimed they had, quote, treated and healed some 300 measles-stricken children using steroids and an antibiotic. One of those doctors had touted the same steroid as a cure for COVID-19. He said he had realized the steroid's life-saving potential thanks to divine intervention. He discovered that this steroid was a cure for COVID-19. He said, quote, while I was asleep, an answer to prayer came to me. Well, he thinks it cures COVID-19. He now also thinks it cures measles. It's the same medication. I don't know if it was the same dream or whatever. But it's basically an asthma inhaler that he says cures COVID and cures measles. And not to state the obvious, but asthma inhalers do not cure COVID-19 or the measles.